I'm ready.
Here we go. Hey, Tommy Weber. How's it going, man? Welcome to Pro Prep Baseball. I'm Ken Arnold.
I am Tommy Weber. How's it going, pal?
It's going good, Webbs, man. It's Sunday night again. We're back to talk about our favorite game, baseball, of course. So I can hear your audio coming from your computer. Can you turn that?
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, Renee Miranda's already on. Hey, Renee, thanks for joining us, man.
Already, Renee, my man.
Already. So welcome, Renee, and everybody else or anybody else that comes on. Feel free to comment. Chris Gresham, I see that you're on, buddy. I would love to actually have you on the show, so let's figure that out so you can get on here and talk a little bit about catching. Yeah, absolutely.
No more catchers, man. Gresham, we need you. Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesus. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Today, my catchers, I was like, oh, God. We had a game today, Webbs.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh, boy. So
I'm going to shut this off so you don't get any feedback. I'm shutting my Facebook off. Go ahead, pal.
Cool.
I'm sorry.
So, we had a game today.
What's the age group? 13?
I got red. You see my cheeks are red? I'm going to tell you right now, everybody, remember your sunblock. Boom. So, don't forget that.
Okay, Dad.
My face is beet red. The age group is 13U to 15U.
That's old enough. That's the sweet spot.
Well, guess what? Most of my guys, the oldest guy I got is 13. The youngest guy I got is 11. So how do you think it went today? How do you think it went today for us?
I think what we used to call in Brooklyn slaughter sides. That's what we used to call it. Slaughter sides.
Yes, we did get mercy ruled in the fifth. But
okay. You hung in there?
We hung in there, and I was kind of really happy with what I saw from my guys since it was the first time they played at 90 feet. They had never played at 90 feet before, yeah. And this other team, obviously, had been playing for 3 years at 90 feet. And we hung in there with them.
Where did you come from? Did you go, what were you playing before you got to 90? Was there a graduate, do you graduate, gradually work up to 90, or do you go from like 50 feet to 90 feet?
It goes 70 to 90. 70
okay.
Feet to 90.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
And it goes from 50 feet, the pitcher's mound, to 66 inches.
Okay, that's big. It's a big difference. That's a great equalizer.
Yeah, but we hit the ball well. We had some really hard hit ball. We actually hit the ball harder and more consistently than the other team. Problem was we had a lot of walks, because we had pitchers who had never thrown from 60 feet before. So, and we had a lot of walks, but we actually did put the ball in play hard, and we made some silly mistakes in the field. We were tentative on defense because they had never, they didn't know what to expect with the 90 feet.
Yep.
And they didn't attack the ball when it was routine ground ball. They sat back on. And what's happening when they're sitting back? Guy's running.
That guy's running.
Yeah.
He's running.
So
if you outwalk, make fewer errors, and strike out less than the other team, the math favors you about 70% of the time.
Exactly.
So once you start making errors and you walk people, forget it. You're going to really need... and by the way, Renee, Miranda, these are real headphones. These are Beats. Okay, Dr. Dre gave these to me. These are a gift from Dr. Dre. Okay?
He
I don't need a GoFundMe page. I could say go. I will say go F you something else to Renee. Boy, no warming up in the bullpen. I see Renee right out there throwing hard, throwing fastballs, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs right at me. Okay, I see where this is gonna go.
Sweet. All right. I think we're getting a little feedback here. Let me check something here. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of feedback, so I'm going to change something. There we go. All right, we should be good now. Yeah, we should be good now. Let me turn on the audio here. Yeah, I got it. I fixed it. Sweet. All right, so, hey, Webbs. This week, I wanted to talk about a couple different things. I wanted to talk about top 5 third basemen of all time, if you wanted to get into that conversation. So
I got you.
I made a list of my top 5, and I'm hoping that you had a list of your top 5. And if you don't have one, you can just give it to me off the top of your head. I'll do mine first, and then you can jump in and give me yours.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, I'm going to start at 5, and I'm going to work my way to the top.
Okay.
Right? And it was a tough decision because one guy's actually still playing the game right now. Adrian Beltre, I had him at number 5. But
maybe one of the most underrated players I've ever seen.
yes, and it was kind of a tie with him and this guy. I'm going to bring him up and bring him over. Eddie Matthews from the Milwaukee Braves, who, by the way, hit 512 home runs in his career, was a third baseman, played over 2,200 games there, and really was never really in the conversation as one of the greatest third basemen of all time. I checked his stats out, and I was really impressed with his hitting and his fielding stats. So, but he played for Milwaukee, so you didn't hear about him.
Yep. Beat the Yankees in '57 in the World Series.
Mm-hmm. So it was a toss-up between him and Adrian Beltre, but I'm going to go Adrian Beltre because Adrian Beltre is still playing and still racking up some stats.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but Eddie Matthews has one other distinction. Maybe somebody can type it in there. Let's see if they know what Eddie Matthews' distinction is. He was the first to do something. The very first. He was the first to appear someplace.
I don't know. So, all right.
This is why my next St. John's class has to be a history class. He was
All
the
right,
first guy ever to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I did see that in his bio. Totally forgot about that. First guy to. Yep. All right. My number 4. This gentleman right here. He's pretty darn good, and he just retired not too long ago. Chipper Jones.
Chipper.
Outstanding player. Could hit from both sides of the plate. Was pretty darn good defensively. I mean, what more could
Number
you
one
ask for?
pick.
Yep. He
Yep,
drove
number
in
one
runs. Drove in runs. Scored runs. Played excellent defense. He hit from both sides of the plate. Excellent third baseman. All
Played
right,
with Earl Jewett, rookie ball, I think.
I think he did. Yeah, with the Braves.
I think he did.
The Macon, was it Macon?
It might be me. Someplace that you wouldn't want to live.
I do not want to live in Macon. No offense, Chris Gresham.
Oh, there I go. There I go. I just offended the Southeast now. Okay,
Yeah.
I took care of New England in my last podcast. I'm going by region by region. I'll get the whole country before we're done.
No offense there. No offense. All right, here we go. This guy right here. Check out this. Hardware this guy's got. You ready? Holy moly! Look at all those Gold Gloves.
Wow.
Brooks Robinson. I got him at number 3.
What a brilliant player, man. Oh my God. God.
His numbers are nowhere near, like Chipper's or Adrian Beltre's or Eddie Matthews offensively. But man, you gotta give the guy some. I mean, wow, what a defensive player. He probably saved as many runs as he drove in just with his gloves, in his career. So
I saw 3 guys, I think, that set the standard for their position. No one's ever played the position like them ever again. One was Brooks Robinson, the other was Ozzie Smith, and the other was Johnny Bench. Brooks Robinson played that position like no one has ever played it or may ever play it. He was an offensive. He drove in runs in the field. Whitey Herzog used to say Ozzie Smith used to drive in runs at shortstop. And Brooks Robinson did the same thing. That might have been the greatest left side of an infield in the history of the game. Mark Belanger at short and Brooks Robinson at third base.
Yep. Renee just jumped on and said he loved how Brooks shaved the bill of his helmet to see the ball better.
Yep, that's right. He had a short brim of his helmet. That's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome player. What a player.
My number 2 third baseman came from the Kansas City Royals, George Brett.
Last guy to take 400 into September, 390 in 1980.
That guy, what a player. I saw him play in Minnesota. They were playing the Twins. You remember the garbage bag in right field?
Yeah.
He hit one off the garbage bag, off of the top of it, he had such an easy swing, and I mean he hit it, and it just sounded like a rocket. Somebody just whap, and it just and took off, man. Up on top of the baggie. I was like, oh my God, that thing would have still been going if that wall wasn't there. So
One of the greatest hitters I ever saw.
Yeah, and made it look easy. And
Yeah.
again, another really good defensive third baseman.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Very good. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Good athlete. Great athlete.
And yeah, before or after the pine tar. Yeah, that Renee.
Oh my God.
The pine tar don't make you hit better, man. Whether that pine tar was on the bat or not, that ball was still going. It was going to be way. Even Goose Gossage said that. He was totally like, yeah, pine tar had nothing to do with it.
When you can turn around 97 at your chest, you're pretty good. I don't care what you're using.
Yeah. Pine tar on the bat. He knows. He says he knows. Renee knows. All right. And my number one is, of course, Michael Jack Schmidt.
Oh, my God.
You ready?
Oh, my goodness.
You ready? I'm going to do my best Harry Callis. Ready? There's a drive, deep left field. George Foster's back at the wall. He looks up. This ball's out of here. Home run, Michael Jack Schmidt.
Yeah. For those newbies that think power was invented like 3 years ago, go take a look at Mike Schmidt's litany of numbers throughout his career. 43, 38, 117, 135, and a fantastic defender.
And he did it. And he did it on a lot of bad teams in the beginning of his career.
Yep.
I mean, they weren't good
great
until
player.
Yeah, they weren't good till late 70s and into the 80s. Before that, they stunk. They were terrible. So.
And durable. He played a long time too. He had a long career. That's another thing that factors into my, evaluating players. Is staying healthy is a skill. That helps. A healthy player is better than a guy who gets hurt. I mean, if you have a long career like Schmidt did and a long productive career, which means you were healthy, he had a great body. He took great care of himself. I saw him not long ago. I played golf at a place that he was playing. He was in the pro shop. He looks like he could play today.
Yeah.
He's in fabulous shape. Fabulous. So he was the standard bearer. There's no question about it at that position, in my opinion. I would agree. I would take Beltre. I would agree. I got to tell you, I probably put Brooks second.
Okay.
Because I could even make an argument, depending upon the composition of my team, that if I had one third baseman to put on my team, it would be Brooks Robinson. I mean, that might be just the manager or coach in me that says, I don't know, man. Brooks Robinson was so, although I'll say this, although Schmidt had an absolute advantage, he was a better player. The comparative advantage, insofar as Robinson being such an elite defender, may have actually made up for the difference in their offense. It may have. It may not have, but there's an argument to be made. He's not surrounded by that many gold gloves, without a reason. He was just an off-the-charts defender. He made a difference in the field. So
he had 18.
I also would throw... Yeah.
So, he had 18 of them.
Where does he put those? Where does he? It's like
know.
Jim Cott has 16. I was like, Cott, where do you put all of those gold gloves? Like, what do you do with them? But fabulous defender. I don't think enough is given when evaluating players to the defense. Certainly, we've become enamored just with offensive statistics. But the three guys to me on your list that are no-brainers are Beltre, Brooks, and Schmidt. Schmidt is just an amazing player with a tremendous career. I tell you the truth, I saw Greg Nettles play his whole career. Nettles was a great player. He didn't have quite the offensive prowess that guys like George Brett did. But man, another guy who was a fantastic defender. He basically won that 1978 World Series on his own, putting on a show. So it's a great discussion, and I love your list. I think Eddie Matthews is another guy, Hall of Famer, that's a hard guy to keep out.
I want to throw some other names out there and tell me what you think about these guys. They're honorable mention. They're not on my top 5, but I'm going to throw some names out to you. Ron Santo.
Dickie Thon. Dickie Thon.
with that square hat they used to wear?
Yeah.
With the square hat? Get out of here.
Oh, God. Umi Brooks. No. Okay. All right.
If anybody says David Wright, I'm banning you from the show forever. I'm just gonna block you.
Oh, we could do a whole show on David Wright.
Oh,
That's
all
not.
right.
Of course, Ron Santo was great. Great.
Yes. Cubs third base.
Ron Say, the Penguin.
Yes, he was great.
Ron Say, the Penguin.
Back in his day.
You know what Howard Cosell said, right?
Mm-hmm.
They call him the Penguin because he walks like a duck. I was reading that.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Howard. All right, so let me give you some of the other ones. Ready? Wade Boggs. How about Wade? We forgot about him.
Wow.
3,000 hits. Man, that guy could hit. And
I think Wade Boggs had as much to do with the resurgent Yankee dynasty as anyone. He brought that kind of patience, hit strikes, wear pitchers down mentality. And I think that permeated itself through their whole organization. And that run that they went, not a run, but that dynasty that they had for all those years, middle 90s to the early 2000s, was, in a lot of ways, it had Boggs' fingerprints all over it.
He was phenomenal. And he, again, another really good defender at third base. You know, he made
himself a good defender.
Yeah, he made all the routine plays. You know, did he make it? The exciting plays like Brooke Robinson? No, but he made all the routine plays.
Right.
So that was
key. Renee's saying Cleat Boyer.
Cleat Boyer. Yep, he's in there. How about Pete Rose? Pete Rose. Here's the thing with that. Pete only played 640 games at third base. All the other guys on my list played over 2,000. Right. So can you really call him a third baseman? Right.
Yeah.
There's a good one right there, Bill Madlock. Renee just threw his
Bill
name
Madlock
out.
could hit. He could flat hit. Yeah. Great right-handed hitter. Terrific right-handed hitter.
A couple other guys that played third base in their career. Paul Molitor, who played
3,000 hits.
Yep, 792 games at third base. But again, not the 2,000 that I'm looking for. I mean, that was kind of the
Molitor, I think, was one of those guys that was never a great defender.
Mm-hmm.
So he got moved. He went from second base to third base and so on. And I never thought of Molitor as one of these elite defenders. Tremendous hitter, tremendous player. Obviously, he could run, durable, tough. Hit like crazy. But I think you have to be at a certain level defensively for me to consider you one of the greatest.
Exactly, and he actually had over 1,000 games as a DH. So most of his career was as a DH.
Yeah, he picked up a lot of hits as a DH. He certainly did. Yes.
And they had Edgar Martinez on the list, but I'm like, no, he's not a third baseman. He's a great DH. Yeah, a great DH.
Best right-handed hitter I ever saw.
Oh, fantastic. And he hit the ball all over the place.
All over. Foul line to foul line.
He did not try to beat a shift or anything like that. He used the entire field. And he could drive the ball to any field. So.
Absolutely. Great hitter.
All right, couple guys playing today that could possibly make this list, I think, eventually. Pie Traynor threw that out. Renee, I don't even know who Pie Traynor. No, I know who he is.
Renee actually went to high school with Pie Traynor. He went to high school with Pie Traynor.
100 years ago.
Pie Traynor played in the dead ball era.
Okay.
Which is Renee was his manager, as a matter of fact.
It was him.
Renee dated Betty Davis, by the way, in high school.
It was Renee, Casey Stengel, John McGraw.
Yeah,
they were all right
Napoleon Lajoie.
Exactly. Connie Mack.
Yeah.
The last guy who.
So who do you think today is on a Hall of Fame pace?
Nolan Arenado from the Rockies.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
That guy's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a great defender and he crushes the ball.
Great. What a work ethic that guy has. I love that guy.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Manny Machado, who wants to play shortstop, but I think he should stay at third base. He's fantastic defensively, and he hits the living daylights out of the ball all over the field. Same kind of a guy. So
one of my Stanford kids, they're like the smartest kids in the world, said that the comments aren't coming through on Facebook Live for some reason. Renee is getting them.
Yeah, we're getting them. Boom.
So, Brandon, maybe Stanford's not doing as good a job as its reputation would imply.
I'm assuming.
What's the most underrated characteristic for a third baseman? Interesting. Who's that? Montague? All right,
Yeah.
Montague, our MLB liaison. Well, the most underrated characteristic for a third base, I'll tell you what I think it is. Because everybody looks at third basemen as guys who can hit and pound the ball. I think you got to be really nimble and quick. I think you got to be really light-footed to play a really good third base because the ball comes at you really quick, and your feet, you feel the ball with your feet, not with your hands. And the quicker you can get your feet and your body into a position to field, the more plays you're going to make. So I would say athleticism is very underrated at third base. And if I were a young third baseman, I'd be doing a lot of agility drills because that ball's on you in a hurry and you got to make quick decisions. How's that? What do you think, Ken?
I agree. I agree. You know what? I agree too much. You know what? I'm going to start disagreeing with you just to create an argument.
Didn't you love playing third base? I thought third base was a great position to play.
I enjoyed it
Loved
more
third base.
than playing shortstop. You want to know why?
No decision.
I didn't have to think about it.
Right,
The ball was hit, and boom, I just reacted, and then that's what made it great. So, yeah, I did like playing third base. It's if I had to list my positions in order, it would be short, third, second, and then first base if I ever happened to play first base. I think
Darrell Evans, left-handed third baseman from the Tigers.
Yes, and Darrell Evans was actually my hitting coach in my first year.
I remember
with the Cubs.
that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, he could still
Big, tall guy.
Yeah, he was a big guy.
Yeah,
strong, country strong, big hands, big wrists and forearms.
He was in that infield with Whitaker and Trammell.
Yeah, that's a good infield.
Yep, that was a good team. They had a lot of good teams. They had Kemp on that team. And...
Yep. We're getting comments from both. I don't know what's going on because I'm seeing comments happening from both YouTube and let me go back to Andy Diorio is on. Yeah. And Thomas Weber, and I'm getting a couple. There's Dan Ford. All right. So, yeah, I'm not seeing the Facebook comments aren't coming through. I'm just getting the YouTube comments right now. I see, said the blind man. All right, well,
my Stanford guys are very smart. Well, one of them is really smart. The other one is just really good looking. I think that's why he got into Stanford. But so you really want to get his comments.
All right, so
and he's great. And he's a great piano player.
Let's just keep talking, and I'll try to fix it as we go.
Okay.
All right. So give me a drill, Webbs. Give me a drill. That I think. Does anybody else want to talk about third base? Because I had enough of the top 5 first basemen. Let's move on.
What do you want? You want a fielding, hitting drill? What do you want? Hitting drill?
I want one drill that you think is a good drill for, any level. And then one drill you've seen in your day that should never be done again.
Well, I'm all about, as you know, if using time effectively because time's the only resource that we all have that we can't create any more of. Mm-hmm. So you only have a limited amount of time, and I want to maximize my efficiency in that limited amount of time. So here's my advice. First of all, I'd hit very few fungos from a long distance. I would shorten everything up so that the ball doesn't have to travel as far. You don't have to be as good a fungo hitter, and you could get a lot more done in a very short period of time. So it's very rare, unless it's in BP, that I'll be standing near home plate hitting fungos. So I like to get out right by the infield grass and maybe 40 feet away have my fielders fielding so I can get a lot more reps. They don't even have to throw. And now guys don't have to throw. They don't get tired. You could do these drills all day long. If I were one great drill that I love is I like the guy on his knees, and you could either, what we like to do is hit the ball, but if you can't hit the ball, that's fine. You just stand there, and 3 short hops, one in front, one to his forehand, one to his backhand, making sure his head, hands, and the ball are in line, and that he's moving towards the ball as he catches it on either end, and he's funneling the ball in the middle. I think that's a great drill, especially a nice little warm-up drill. Every day you can do it. When you get good at fungoing, then you could fungo the ball. Then you really get that action. But I think that's a great drill. The other drill I would never do, it's not a drill. I would never, ever play an inter-squad game. Ever. Ever.
Yeah, it wastes a lot of time, if you ask me.
Unless I'm a major league team that has 7 fields, and 41 coaches, and I could send guys to back fields to work on things. But if I'm a high school coach, I'm telling you right now, and I'll stand by this, and I'll argue it with anyone, do not have inter-squad games. They are a colossal waste of time. Nobody gets anything done. You spend 3 hours. There's no action. Nobody's moving. You don't even break a sweat. You're better off just breaking off into little groups, having drills, hundreds of ground balls, hundreds of fly balls, play, tee work, soft toss. You'll get a lot more out of it.
Awesome. You know what? You stole my one about the fielding on the hands and on your knees with the hands out in front and doing that. So that was my drill.
Oh, you know what drill? I'll tell you what. How about this? I remember the day we invented this drill, and you were there when you were a freshman at Wagner. I believe that defense is all about being in motion. You've got to be in motion, obviously pre-pitch and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I would have guys walk towards me and keep walking as I hit the fungo at them. So now they have to kind of redirect themselves because they're already in motion, get their feet out from under them and get their feet under them very quickly, and now make the play. I want my players to always be just a little uncomfortable when we're working on defense, a little unsure of themselves. A lot of times, another good thing, have you guys take their shoes off when they're taking ground balls.
Take their shoes off? Explain that one.
Yep. Well, if you're on the dirt, wear your turf shoes. Nolan Arenado does this all the time. He never wants to be comfortable. He takes a lot of fungos in his turf shoes on dirt so that he can feel the ground underneath him and work on his posture. Because if you feel out of balance, you'll automatically default to being over your center and in a good fielding position and really cognizant of your balance. And fielding, as you know, is 90% being in balance as you catch the ball.
Okay, fair enough. It's a good drill. I was surprised you didn't say don't do the drill where you're on your knees and then you have to hop up with the bat and then the coach soft tosses one to you really quick.
Oh, remember that?
Yeah, do you remember that drill? What the heck was that?
What is that about? That's just overthinking it.
Did you ever see a hitter go up to the plate and do that?
Yes, it's all the time.
Start on their knees and then they jump up and whap, and then they hit the ball.
Well, you know what it is, Ken? Yeah. We've seen so many terrible drills.
Yes.
To pick one, it's really difficult.
It is.
It's really difficult. It is very difficult.
I'm not a big fan of flipping the ball from behind the hitter too in the soft toss position and then letting them hit.
What is that about?
Yeah,
what is that?
From the front, right? Oh, here's one that I saw that on YouTube the other day. I was surfing, checking out drills, and they were doing an outfield drill. And the guy had the outfielders, he would throw a fly ball to them. He would have the outfielder run to the ball, and then instead of getting under it and catching it, over their head, one-handed, right? He would have them reach down between their legs and catch the ball down between their legs.
Oh, it's like a trick shot artist.
Yeah.
That's really great.
I was like, have you ever seen that?
Just for future reference, if I ever have an outfielder do that, just turn around and go home. Don't come in the dugout. Do not come in the dugout.
I was like, really? That's a drill? One of the top 3 outfield drills you have in your top 3 drills there, my friend?
I'll give you one drill that's absurd that you see a lot, and I'll never understand this.
Okay.
So during infield, outfield, guys hitting fungos, whatever, some coach is working with the catchers, and the catcher has a helmet on. And they're working on bunts where he'll roll bunts out, and the catcher will pick them up and throw it to first.
Okay.
And before he rolls the ball out, he hits the catcher on top of the head with the ball and then rolls it out.
For what reason?
I don't know, but okay. I'm not kidding you. I see that a lot. A lot.
We did that drill last night, but I didn't bounce it off the catcher's hat or helmet before.
He doesn't bounce it. He taps his head with the ball. He taps his head and then he rolls it. I'm not sure.
Is that to let him know that the ball? I just take it and just roll it out there, and then the catcher sees it and then reacts. Is that
right? Which is practicing like you play, so you will play like you practice.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. We're not getting these Facebook comments. I reset everything, and they're not coming through. Our YouTube ones are coming through fine. I'm getting all kinds over here. So we got a comment from Brandon Wolf, and he said,
Brandon Wolf, Wolfie, yes. What are you doing? Wolfie, what are you doing? That's an inside joke.
Okay.
Great piano player, Stanford. He hit a ball in Harwich this year, okay? I'm not kidding you. I don't know if the ball has landed. I'm not sure the ball has landed. The hardest hit ball I've seen in 2 years. One of my best pals, Brandon Wolf. What's he got?
He says, what do you think the most valuable tool is going to be over the next 10 years?
The most valuable tool
Yeah.
in the next 10 years.
Is that like one of the 5
like
tools?
one of the 5 tools
Yeah.
kind of thing? Yeah,
Or-
that's what he means.
Yeah.
I think the most valuable tool is going to be the jigsaw. It's going to be used a lot more than. Oh, I'm sorry.
Channel locks. A pair of good pair
Yes,
of channel locks
yes.
is always useful.
I think I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm gonna say. I think the game's gonna change, like everything changes and evolve, and I think hitting efficiently without obsessing on power is going to become more of a premium skill than it ever has been. That's just, and not because I want you to hit for a higher average, which of course I do, but I just think that everything evolves, and right now the premium is on power, and I think teams are starting to realize the value of contact, and I think I'd want to be a guy who could go foul line to foul line that they can't defend, who can get a lot of hits.
Okay, to riff off of that, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, what kind of a guy would I want on my team as a pinch hitter now? With all the power, everybody's swinging out of their butt to hit a home run every time. So I've got power throughout my lineup, right? I've already got that. Everybody gets up there. They're hitting 10, 15, a 40 home run, whatever, right? What kind of a pinch hitter would I like? I'd like a pinch hitter to come off the bench like a Mark Grace type hitter that can use the entire field, can hit a home run if he gets his pitch, but is more likely to put the ball in play hard somewhere. That's the type of pinch hitter I would want on my roster right now, instead of a guy that just comes off the bench and is going to strike out 9 times out of 10.
It's funny you say that because classically, and you had a guy in your organization, the King, Terry Crowley from New York.
Yep.
Who was a great pinch hitter who had very little power, but he was a walking double.
Yeah.
He was a guy who could drive a run in from first base. Let's face it. I understand I love guys that have a lot of power, but classically, guys that come off the bench are the Chili Davises of the world. Those kinds of guys, switch hitters, could put the ball in play, hit a lot of doubles. I'm not talking about punch and Judy hitters here. Yeah. I'm talking about guys that could drive the ball and get you a bunch of doubles.
Mm-hmm. Greg Gross was a good one. He put the ball in play for the Phillies for a long time.
Right. Excellent.
So, but yeah, I was thinking about that, and I'm like, yeah, I think. But what's going to happen? And you said it. All this shifting and all that. There's going to be a swing back, and then you're going to start to see more guys hitting the ball the other way, putting the ball in play. You're seeing it with the Red Sox, the Astros. Those guys are beating the shift, scoring runs. And they're winning teams. They're the guys that are going to be there at the end of the season.
And I'll tell you this, too. I think, Wolfie, that you're going to see teams gravitate towards a more relentless kind of approach where they could beat you in more than one way, where they just stay on top of you, as opposed to what the Yankees do, which is kind of have you sleep for 4 innings, then they'll hit 2 home runs. I watch the Red Sox and I watch the Astros. I got to tell you, both teams, they're running when you're trotting, they're sprinting when you're running, and they enjoy beating you to the punch. I think that's the kind of player that you want to convene on a good winning team.
Mm-hmm. So Andy Diorio's mad at us because we're not getting the comments from him over on Facebook, and he's like yelling in all caps. He's like, "Hello, testing. What's the matter with you guys?"
Why doesn't he just send you a message?
I don't know. Why doesn't he just go over to YouTube and watch us over there? And then make comments there. I would love it. So,
and he's a school teacher.
Yeah.
Doesn't bode well for the education system.
So he asks, what about BP on the field before
What about it?
I know. That's. I guess he was talking about drills.
What about BP?
Yeah.
Okay, take it. Yeah. Take it.
What about
I don't know.
BP?
I mean,
I like BP.
I know some guys like to take it in the cage because it's more efficient. It takes. I think there is a value to taking batting practice on the field. I think in the cage you get a lot of false positives. Mm-hmm. Anybody could look good in the cage. You could always kind of imagine the ball going someplace it doesn't. You play the game on the field. I do think you need to play in the space, practice in the space that you play the game. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do both, so you can get a bunch of swings in.
Absolutely.
You could be in the cage and you could also be on the field. That's what early work is for. But I do think there's a value to having your team hit on the field.
Absolutely. I loved the defensive aspect to it. All the ground balls that I would take.
And getting reads.
Exactly. The first round of BP, I would take ground balls off of fungo. The second round of BP, I would take off the bat. The third round, I would usually be hitting because that's when the 7, 8, 9 hitters would hit.
I also think that I think baseball is a game of reading. Reading the pitch, reading the ball in the dirt, reading the ball off the bat. And BP is a great way for defenders to assume every ball is going to get hit to you and work on that read, that mental lean that we talk about, left, right, based on the pitch, based on the swing, so you get a jump on the ball during the game. I think there's no substitute for that kind of learning.
Mm-hmm. I wish we could do it more often at the youth level. Just set up a BP and have 2 fungo hitters going and then just let the kids hit. Just throw, boom, and just have a set guideline, a set routine every time for the kids to get a feel for it.
You know what you could do? You could almost be the hitter and have them all, and watch every guy react on each pitch. Have somebody throw you the ball, and you just hit it somewhere. Mm-hmm. Or you swing and miss, or you purposely foul it off to see what their kind of pre-pitch preparation is and how they're mentally and physically anticipating where the ball's going to go.
Yeah, I just, my kids, they're just not at the point yet where they understand that, where they anticipate, where they do any of the things that you can work on during batting practice.
Right.
So, and I just wish we had the time to do more of it, and the equipment. It's hard when you don't have a turtle shell and you're throwing and the balls are going all over the place. If you have a shell.
I know. That's why you got to try to be as efficient as possible. Yeah. I know it's hard.
Yeah. Renee said it's excellent for outfielders, during BP. Absolutely.
Base runners?
Yep. Base runners. We always had to do our base run. After we hit, we had to go to first. We would get 2 or 3 starts off of first, then you'd go to second. Get your stuff off a second, then you would go to third, and then you would take it in.
Absolutely.
So, just taking BP is outstanding. I wish we could do it every day, and then do other drill work here and there, and do what you got to do. But that would be a core thing to do every day is get that BP in.
But you bring up a great point. It takes a tremendous amount of planning, concern, and setting your priorities as to what it is you want your players to learn. To just throw BP and have guys standing around shagging balls is another waste of time. I mean, you're not really going to get a lot out of that.
Yeah. Montag just came on. Genser, I guess it is. Montag Genser.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it was amazing to me how little people cared or gave an effort during BP at Brewster. I got to tell you, I wasn't at Brewster, but I've seen it other places. Yeah, there are a lot of people who really don't care during BP. They just think it's a waste of time, and they stand around and do nothing. If I got all my work in and I went out in the outfield and played, a game with like the outfielders or the other infielders or the pitchers, who could catch, more fly balls or whatever, make a points game out of it or something. I didn't just stand around and do nothing. I will say that.
Well, I'll say this. I don't think anyone was standing around doing nothing. But BP does, at a high level, this is really interesting. It's almost counterintuitive. At a very high level, BP can look like guys are not doing much, like it's casual. Because you're playing every day, and guys aren't swinging 100 miles an hour. They may be working on something on their swing. Our guys got lots of work, fungos, base running, outfield work during batting practice. But yes, it does tend to take on, as the weather gets warmer and guys kind of wear down, a somewhat more casual look than what's actually being done might indicate.
Yeah. And Montag came back on and said, with the outfielders, he said, not the infielders. The infielders were, so.
That's because Montag was in the outfield shagging all the balls.
Okay, I see. He was like, what's going on? I'm out here catching all the balls. Why aren't the outfielders doing that? I get it now. So, moving on. So, moving on to another topic, and I wanted to ask you, last week we didn't really get a chance, but which team at the major league level right now, do you think has the best chance of winning it all this year? Who do you got? You got the Red Sox, you got the Astros, you got the Dodgers. Who do you got?
It's hard. It's hard not to come down on the side of the Astros. I think at this point in time, they have the best balance in their starting pitching and maybe the best balance in their pitching staff, maybe. But when you watch Chris Sale pitch, you realize that when you face the Red Sox, you got one guy who basically you can't hit. I mean, Chris Sale is it's ridiculous.
Nasty. His that slider he throws down in it. Oh my God! You kidding me?
And he's throwing balls to left-handers that are behind them.
Yeah,
they're literally behind them. I would love to see one of these. I'd love to see Oakland get in there, or the Braves, or somebody like that, an upstart team. But Verlander and the Astros experience, and I think the Astros also play with a certain calm and confidence. I still think it has to come down between the Red Sox and the Astros.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but from the National League side, what are you looking at? You got the Cubs, the Brewers are right in there. You got the Dodgers, you've got the Braves, which would be nice. But I don't think any of those teams can hang with the American League teams. Like even the third best American League team, they can't hang with it. Cleveland. Cleveland is pretty damn good, and they got a good pitching staff, and they play excellent defense. So I don't think any of the National League teams are that good. But in a 7-game series, anything can happen.
Yeah, I think the American League is far better than the National League. I really do. I watch some of these National League teams play, and it's like, oh my God. You get to the 5th inning, and nobody's, one hit, 11 strike. It's striking out like crazy. But I just don't think that the National League teams can measure up, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so at all. Just looking at them, I'm like, I don't think anybody can beat Houston. I don't think anybody can beat Boston and Cleveland.
Not in a 7-game series.
No. Or even the Athletics. I think the A's are really hot right now, and they're playing really good baseball. Chris Davis, that guy is
good.
He's got more home runs than anybody over the last 3 seasons, I think.
I love the way he hits, man.
Yeah. He does not get cheated. Let's put it that way.
He does not. He does not. And he operates in a real small space, man. He can hit in a phone booth. I love his style of hitting.
Yeah. Short, quick to the ball, and powerful.
Yep.
It's just crazy.
Balance. Never. You know what a lot of these guys remind me of, man? I say it all the time. They look like they're going to be late, and then they're not late. It's like late. No, they're not. They're never in a hurry. They never run out of bat. They don't mind getting jammed, but they never run out of bat, man. Yeah. It's really amazing to watch.
All right, so one more thing before we go. The other night I was with you in New York City. We were hanging out, having a conversation, and a book came up called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. I haven't had a chance to actually read it yet, but you said that this should be required reading at any level, actually in college, or if you want to be a successful person. So give me a little bit of background on that book right there.
Well, Gladwell's just a amazing, unique thinker. He looks at things that we presume to be fact from very different angle, and starts making you shake your head, like maybe what I believed for all these years, I don't need to believe it anymore, or isn't true. And it really makes you do a double take. And he's brilliant. I would recommend going online, listening to his podcasts, or his take on the NFL. I think is absolutely right on, spot on. He's got a number of books out. David and Goliath is another one that everyone should read. But Outliers especially, I think, is the first book everybody should read, especially if you're involved in sports and you think you've kind of got it all figured out, and that everybody has a chance, and if I just put my kid with the right teacher or the right coach or the right travel team, it increases the likelihood of him becoming great. Well, Gladwell theorizes that, in fact, maybe the thing that influences your ascension in a sport more than anything else is your date of birth. And that kids who are born early actually get almost a year and a half head start, because they're playing against kids they're a lot older than when they enter school. And what happens is, and Gladwell puts it much more eloquently than I'm capable of doing, and the book's an easy read, the effect accelerates as time goes on. So when they're younger, they're getting more attention. So they get on better teams. They're perceived as better, so they get even more attention. And there's like a snowball effect that these kids enjoy, as opposed to somebody who's born on December 26th, who's the youngest kid in his class. They're always the oldest. The other thing Gladwell talks about, and he documents it really, really well, is the theory of 10,000 hours, that it takes about 10,000 hours to master a skill. And he uses the Beatles. When the Beatles were first going, they were in Bavaria, and they played these brothels. And the deal they signed was they had to play from like 3 in the afternoon until 3 in the morning. And if you add up the time that they spent doing that until they explode on the Ed Sullivan Show, it's almost exactly 10,000 hours. It's kind of amazing. And I did the same thing with baseball, and I started to add up the hours between, a kid who lives in California who could play every day and a kid who lives in New York who the most he could play if he's playing every day is 7 months. And my results were that the kid who's in California, when he's 13, he's the equivalent of a New York 17-year-old. Mm-hmm. Which is why if you took an all-star team from California of 13-year-olds, they could probably beat an all-star team from New York of 17-year-olds, because the development is that much accelerated. Anyway, I recommend Gladwell's reading and his writing and his podcasts to everyone. It's really, really eye-opening.
All right, yeah. I'm going to try and read it this week. I did get David and Goliath as well, but it's true, the whole 10,000 hour thing. And I've heard that before from other people as well. It takes 10,000 hours and then boom, that's when everything seems to fall into. You're a master of what you've done. And if you're not willing to put that time in, you're never going to become a master of anything. Trust me. I know.
Right.
I know. I'm still trying to get my 10,000 hours in as an actor, and that's pretty tough.
Well, listen, it's a craft like any other craft. You got to do it every day. And I think sometimes people put their mouth in motion before they put their brain into action and start making claims about what it is they want to do before they realize, wait a minute, I've got to do this every day.
Yes.
Every day. Like when you put it in those terms and in that context, sometimes I think people would choose to do something else. And that's why I recommend it to all athletes, to all parents, and to all coaches. It's a great, great book.
So one more thing before we go. We've been on for 48 minutes, so we got a little bit more time. But today, you should have seen the faces of the kids, right? So the other night, I told them we were talking about the Everything Matters thing that you write on the board, right? The other night.
Oh.
Right? So, because I like when you bring these things up. So I go to the kids the other night at practice, and I say, guys, think about this. I'm like, all right. A friend of mine, good friend of mine, told me this the other night. He said, successful people or successful organizations, people who make it to the highest level, everything matters. I gave him the example of the New York Yankees, right? How many world championships do they have? So that means everything they do, the way they take the field, the way that, they wear their uniform, all of that. And
we're
then
the Yankees.
Yes. And then I said to them, and that means for you guys, this weekend when we get here, I want you guys to all have your shirts tucked in. I want you guys to all have your belts. I want you guys to have all your shoes tied. Because at 12 and 13, they still can't get that together, right? So I tell them that. And then today they show up. And I told them the uniform's gray pants. We're using gray pants. We're using the blue shirts. They show up today. Shoes are untied. Half of them don't have a belt. One of them's wearing white pants. I'm like, guys, what did we talk about the other night? I said, this is, the belt is part of your uniform. You have to wear it. If you show up at the next one without your belt, you're not playing. I'm going to sit you on the bench. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. So, but they don't, but the thing is that these kids don't understand that, when you ask them to do something, and it's not that hard to do, you should just do it. It should be an automatic thing. I don't know where we're at here.
Well, I would respond to that with a question. Why is that? Why does a kid take your instruction and the protocol and not adhere to it? What is it?
I'll tell you what it is, and this is what I see. It's because of what they see at home. They don't have
no consequence.
Yeah, there's no consequence at home, and they get away with it, whatever. and when they show up on the field, they think they can still get away with it without a consequence. So.
And the answer you'd probably get is, what's the big deal? What does it really matter? And the answer is everything matters, because it matters. It really does matter.
Yeah. It's a big deal. To me, it's a big deal. I want all my players to look like they know how to play the game. They need to be prepared.
And I'll tell you what I think it does. And I think this will speak to you as an elite athlete, and to anybody else who's played anything at a high level, maybe even the guitar. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about wanting to make people do something, but when you use the credo, everything matters, you're communicating to yourself that this is important to you. You're telling yourself this is your priority. It becomes important. So now you're going to make sure when you're on the field, you cover the base, or you get over to first base on a ground ball to the right side, or you run hard out of the box, because everything matters. So I want to be able to sign my name to my work, and you can only do that if everything matters.
Yeah. And today I told the kid who had the white pants on, I said, I know I sent the email out to your parents. I know I told you to your face that we are wearing gray pants, and you still showed up with white pants on. And I said, look, guys, in the real world, when you guys eventually get there, and you will, right? If you show up at work and you don't have the proper uniform on, do you think you're going to have that job for very long? You can't just show up if your uniform for work is a business suit, a shirt and tie, and you show up in shorts and a t-shirt. You can't do that. So our uniform is a baseball uniform. It's the shirt, it's the belt, it's the blue socks, and that's what I want to see. And then they still show up. They don't have any of it. And again, no consequence. No, I told them today, that's it if it happens again, right? But come on, guys. You got to get – and I just don't understand why they don't get it. They just don't get it.
Well, I think we understand why. I just think that it's a result also of kids never really playing amongst themselves, so they would police that. If you came with the wrong outfit on and we were playing with, just ourselves, somebody would say, hey, Kenny, don't be a moron. Yeah. Next time, but nobody says that. So there really is no consequence, because if your own parents aren't going to tell you, listen, to make sure you have the right stuff, and that if you do have the wrong stuff, that you're going to pay a consequence for it, well, then why would he listen to you?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, well. All right, man. We've been on for 54 minutes, man. So
wow.
I know. Time flies. I'm telling you. Time flies. So we talked about top 5 first basemen. We talked about drills, a good drill, and drills that, we should never see again. We talked about who we thought we were going to do well in the Major League playoffs this year. We talked about Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Outliers, and we talked about the Everything Matters that we talked about the other night.
So next week, here's what we're going to talk about. I want people out there to see, man, this is going to be the question we ask them.
Okay.
Who would they suggest would play us in the story of our life, in a movie made about us?
Exactly. I'm totally going with Tom Selleck, a young Tom Selleck for me, though. Not that old guy. Not that old guy we got now. So Henry Cavill, the guy who plays Superman, would play me. Yeah, I think that would be it. What about you? Who you got?
Obviously, DiCaprio. Obviously.
Wow. That's funny. I went with the best looking guy I could think of, and you went with the smartest and best actor at the craft, right? It's funny. That's funny.
And the guy who gets all the supermodels.
Yes. Yeah, well, Henry Cavill probably pulls some supermodels as well. He played Superman. The guy is Superman. All right, man. So we're going to sign off. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week. We'll have another top 5 next week. Tommy and I will discuss what we're going to talk about. Hey, put some comments in and let us know what top 5 you'd like to talk about or you'd like to see. So, Renee, just one more comment before we go. He just said Rob Schneider is Webbs.
Oh man.
Oh, okay. I see where this is going, Renee. It's getting late. We're getting tired. We got to sign off.
Okay.
But Tommy Weber, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it again. I will.
Thanks, pal. I love you.
I love you too, buddy. We will talk more next week. Enjoy your week. And everybody out there, you enjoy your week. We're signing off. Take care. I'll try to get this Facebook comment thing figured out so you can get those comments up.
because we lost a couple people tonight because they're common. Andy Dioro, he's pissed. He's probably going to text me later and call me a jerk. Oh, well. All right, guys. Good night. We'll see you later.